My last video, I talked about eye contact and how somebody may be attacking you, and you having eye contact and having the confidence may be enough to keep them at bay. I want to go further on this because when we talk about people attacking you, myself, I'm a Krav Maga instructor and I instruct martial arts, and all those things I teach my students is the first thing is you always need to try to de-escalate. Try to walk away if you can. Again, if you turn your eyes down and walk away, some people will take that as a cue to attack you. So you have to do it in a clever way. De-escalation is key. For a lot of people, they'll tell you exactly what they want. If you don't walk out of here right now, I'm going to fill in the blank. That's your invitation to walk away. And it's not your invitation to walk halfway and turn back and say, oh yeah, well, your uncle's a monkey. You don't say that kind of stuff because you're now escalating it. De-escalation is the key. Save face. If you basically get humiliated, it's better to be humiliated and walk away than having your face punched in. But don't confuse that with weakness. Weakness is literally your head cowering down. You always want to, not make eye contact, etc. And there's people play on that. There's people who, we know this. They're simply bullies. There's people who love to bully around. Back when I was in college, it was like my first year in the dorm, something like that. And I got put with this guy, roommate. The roommate was just a quiet guy. I don't remember his name, but we almost never talked. He just did his thing. I did mine. But his buddy was an absolute jerk. And no matter what, he'd always come over and cause trouble and say something to me. I was like, what did I ever do to you? And finally one day, I said, I'm going to move out of the dorms. And he was like, good, get out of here. I was like, it wasn't even his room. And I was like, why do you have to be that way? Because I've never caused any problems with you. And of course, I was not doing what I was supposed to. And I turned away when I wasn't looking. As soon as I turned around, he, pushed me, threw me across the room. And I tripped and stumbled on the floor. And at that point, I basically said, all right, I was just out of the military. I was in really good shape. I was used to fighting and stuff. And I stood up right in his face and I said, time for you to go. Leave now or else. And it amazed me. He cowered down and left. And that's what you find with a lot of bullies, by the way. We've talked about this before. And I'm not talking about even just bullies like right now you're back in high school, but we're talking about if crap hits the fan. We're talking about a situation in which people will try to take advantage. And they're just scared people. They may not like you, but who cares? We don't have to get along. But they're scared, and therefore they'll try to make themselves look all tough and everything to be able to try to counteract you. So in reality, he sucker punched me. In reality, he sucker pushed me, you know what I'm saying? But they'll do this. They will wait for the opportunity when you're not looking. And they'll often do this, by the way. There's two ways a sucker punch is coming, FYI. Either they're arguing with you, I don't like you, then they'll stop and just stare at you. Sometimes look at your body for about 3 seconds. Get ready. Because what they're doing is, since they're not trained fighters, they're like, okay, I think I'm going to punch him in the stomach or punch him in the face. Then they'll do it. So get ready. We always see a silent moment for about 3 seconds before they go. Or secondly, it's interesting, as they approach you, they'll turn around and look over their shoulder. I don't know what it is about this. They'll turn over, look over their shoulder, and it's coming. It's almost like they want to make sure they're not getting attacked or nobody's watching. But when you see somebody staring down at you and they want trouble, that's the thing you have to look at in the first place, because there's this glare. And you have no idea what's going on through their head. They may even be on drugs, which of course sometimes even gives that superhuman strength, what I'm talking about? So obviously de-escalate or getting away is the key. The first thing you must do, though, is you must look them in the eyes. And I'm not saying stare back at them no, do it non-confrontational in a non-hostile way. What I like to do is look at them, nod, like, hey, what's up, buddy? I'm with you. In fact, a lot of people kind of look at it this way because it's not I'm the problem. It's not you're the problem. It's this system that's the problem, and we're stuck in the middle of it. And I've got you, buddy. We're equal. And sometimes that's enough for them to kind of calm down. But obviously, you don't want to have your hands up, or you don't want to do things like glare down at them because they'll take that as a threat. Don't clench your fist. Just look at them, nod. Yeah, I'm with you, buddy. I hate what's going on here. This is ridiculous. And if that's the case, they may still try to sucker punch you, but at least you'll be ready as they come in your direction. And again, the problem is I took my eyes off that guy in the dorms. I shouldn't have done that in the first place. I didn't know he was going to be that hostile. A lot of times they're just like little yapper dogs. They just kind of go. But don't take your eye off them, and that's the key. I'm not saying stare them down in the face, but make eye contact. And then at that point, after you give your nod, don't let them out of your sight. Don't stare at them, but just kind of look this way, watch them peripherally. If you start walking away, kind of like glance over your shoulder. You need to make sure you keep watching them because here come the bullies. They're all about sucker punching you. And if you basically give the nod and start walking away and you don't look back, they may literally clock you upside the head. And it may be more than their fist, by the way. It may be fatal, whatever they do. So you can't ever, ever just take your eyes off of them. Keep looking, keep looking. Because understand, remember, most criminals want an easy target. And if you constantly keep looking at them, even just glancing back, you're not that much of an easy target for them. And if you make it any difficult at all, 99 out of 100 times, they will walk away. There's that one time, though, of course, we have to worry about this. But I'll say this, too. The FBI has conducted numerous research about this. And when I teach self-defense to like even corporate or to my students for Krav Maga, the time is 1 minute, by the way. The FBI did this extensive study that if somebody does start fighting you and beating you, it's not a matter of you beating them, but if you just make it not worth their while, keep fighting against them because, again, they want an easy target. If you can make it 1 minute, odds are they're going to walk away, which blows my mind that they'll do this. But, again, they want an easy target. They, whatever it may be, crap hits the fan, they want your can of tuna, or present day, they want your lunch money, whatever the case may be. All right, so ultimately, when you turn your back on them, per se, you're walking away. You don't ever stop looking at them. There's one of two things you can do. You need to keep glancing, look behind your shoulder, let them know, by the way. It's not simply just, I'm being sly, you don't see me. Let them know you're watching because obviously you're going to make it more difficult. Or secondly, if you're used to this, shiny surfaces work very well. I like doing this and I practice this quite often. But it obviously it's not going to always work. You may be in the middle of a street with nothing shiny around. But if you can actually always watch your periphery, always watch shiny surfaces, always watch even just shadows moving in a direction, it's going to help you tremendously. Now, glancing over your shoulder is great, but you need to let them know that your intentions are to not let them come in there because last thing you want to do is have them ambush you. And they will, by the way, especially if we're talking about crap hits the fan and they want your tuna, they will ambush you. You'll have some people who will realize that you have 3 guys who want your food. They suspect you have some in your house. All 3 guys are not going to knock on your door or pound on your door or break down your door. They're smart enough to know that we need to kind of hide a couple guys. And this is interesting. A couple years back, we live way out in the country. I mean, it's funny because my wife, Ashley, her mom lives in the country too. But when she came out here, she goes, wow, you guys are way out here. And I was like, I know, we did this on purpose. We practically never have people even driving down a road, we do, but walking down a road, riding bikes down a road, very, very, very rare. And one day we had some knocking at our door, and which is like here where we're at, that's not common at all. We're talking about that happens maybe once every 2 years. I mean, it's very, very rare. And when this happened, all of our kids know there's certain drills that we do that they're not allowed to answer the door, not even to show themselves. And by the way, hopefully you never answer your door either. Never open up your door. Shout through your door if you need to, but let them know that they're not welcome. So anyways, there's some guy out there, and I could see him through like the window of my reinforced door, a small window to be able to peek out. That's why I have it that way. And there's a guy there and another guy kind of around the corner. And he was like, hey, we've been walking a while and we need some water. And that may be true. He may have needed some water, or maybe he didn't. And I wanted to help him out. I like helping people out. And I'm like, the hose is out there if that's what you want. He's like, no, we just need some water. I'm like, I'm not opening this door. I said something to the fact of, you have like 3 seconds to get off my property. I don't like doing that. I like the olden days where we helped each other out. But guys, we're not in those days anymore. You need to watch out for you and your family. So he was like, rah, rah, rah. I said choice words, and him and his buddy walked off. Well, I went to a different window and watched. And there was a third guy hiding behind a tree. If they wanted just water, why is he hiding behind the tree? Then those same neighbors went across the street, and that's the only neighbor we have is one across the street. And he's got signs everywhere, no trespassing. They went right past the signs and everything. Obviously, they didn't want just water. But here's the thing. You need to watch them constantly. You need to make sure that all this happens, and then you wait for your turn. Have you ever heard that before? So let's say somebody does start causing problems. The last thing you want to do is rush in there and cause any type of fight or altercation. But if they cause problems, if you don't fight back and you de-escalate, but they keep going, they will actually have a break or a lull, and then it's called, now it's your turn. And that's the time to take action, because you do not want to just jump right into it and cause problems. You kind of wait for a little bit, because you don't want it to be a fight. You don't want it to be evenly matched. If they're coming down on you, when they finally back down, then it's your turn to take time. All right, alternate directions is the key. Look for shiny stuff. But if you find somebody is targeting you, it's no more training, no more drills. You are now having to take action. It's on. And if you're in a public area, crap is not the fan. Obviously getting into some type of well-lit store to go into, obviously looking for even a security guard. A lot of security guards aren't really worth anything. They just make sure people don't shoplift, you know what I'm saying? But it does attract attention. They don't want that. Even if you just yell, leave me alone. That's what I teach my little martial arts students in my school. Stop, get back, leave me alone. You yell that as loud as you can. And a lot of times that attention will make people kind of walk away. But when you actually get to a place that is going to be more in light and stuff, you don't simply just say, okay, I'm in here hiding. You need to still raise a ruckus and have it so a crowd sees them. Now, if you do have a weapon, which is always good, the last thing you ever want to do is brandish the weapon. In other words, this is my knife. I'll just use my little knife. I know how to pull out my knife. You better get back. I've got a knife. That is somebody who doesn't know how to use a knife. That knife is just a tool. And right now you're saying, you know what? I've got this tool. I've got this wrench. I don't know how to use it, but I've got this tool. You better get back. I've got this knife. It's not going to do anything. I mean, it may slow them down. Now, what you're doing is you're playing for keeps, because if this person's coming after you, you do not want to show them you have a weapon, whatever that weapon is. You want to have it so, you know what? I'm warning you, better get back. I'm telling you to leave now. And if they start coming at you, the second they see that weapon is the second that weapon's used on them. And that's actually a big problem too, by the way, because, I mean, using the weapon isn't. But what happens is a lot of people, they will tell themselves, I can't believe this is happening. I've trained for this. I don't want to hurt this guy. Guys, and you may be like, it'll never happen. Then you've never been in that situation, because you'll have a million thoughts going through your head all at once. It is this, that weapon's concealed, and then you use that weapon as fast as you can, as lethal as you can. You go after them with every single ounce of your fight. And when they're finally on the ground, then it's time to make your exit, because it is life or death. Because we're talking about right now, it's kind of crappy outside as it is. But when crap hits the fan, even more so. But the weapon obviously is a last-ditch effort. You don't ever want to just pull it out and show that. I'll tell you one last thing you can do if you're caught without a weapon. It's called a V-strike. A V-strike. Put your hand like this. I mentioned this on the channel before. And when they get close enough to you, they're charging you, whatever the case may be, you hit them as hard as you can right here with your V-strike in the throat. And that literally could be the only shot you need to take them down. It's amazing how effective this is. Incredibly effective. In fact, I always recommend that you hit hard, hit fast, nail them, then get out. But practice this at home. And we actually have those bob dummies, we practice on those. I have my students practice on those. But having your hand open, even if you're off a little bit, it'll slide into place. A V-strike right there in the throat. As they're approaching, don't say, get back, I've got a V-strike. You kind of sit there, let them get close enough, think that you're not ready, and then as hard as you can, you nail them right in the throat. It will stop them very quickly. If that's the only shot you have, you go for that one. All right, guys, I hope this helps you out, because here's the thing. We're already seeing some really problematic times, and I think even just in a matter of the next few months, it's going to get even worse. But we're heading for crap hits the fan. We are going to have an economic crash. It is inevitable. We cannot sustain our economy the way things are going. Eventually, there won't be police to help you, firefighters out there to take out your fire, et cetera. No hospitals, ambulances, all that's going to collapse. It's going to collapse. There's no stopping it now. We have to protect ourselves. So here's some things, some tidbits for you. I hope this helped out. Anything else, put in the comments below as always. And thanks for watching.